I think this is coming out on AM4. You said Ryzen Tune had high highs and low lows, so 3D stacked L3. No, not necessarily. I guess we'll just talk about this first. Okay. Okay. So let's move this down here. 3D stacking. So essentially what they showed here, which was pretty damn interesting. Trying to move my window down here. AMD 3D stack. Let's see if there's any images here. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Do you see how this chiplet over here is like bigger? It's almost touching the other one. That's because there's like a layer of memory over top and they just kind of sandwiched it on there. And apparently they made it so perfectly flat that the contact points are just like touching each other. Like the top of the IO, the top of the CCD and the bottom of the memory, like stack, whatever. They're just like so perfectly flat with each other. That has to be really expensive to like manufacture. They're essentially taking out like the manufacturing defects of it. So it's like, it's probably spending twice as much time on like the conveyor belt, you know what I mean? So it's like assemble the chip, put it back in the conveyor belt, flatten all like it's almost like lapping all the surfaces to make sure they're flat, put the memory on, then solder the IHS on. Like that's fucking a lot of work, dude. That has, like, you know what I mean? That's a lot of work. I expect these chips to be insanely expensive. So we were talking about this in the Discord too, but I think this is coming out on AM4. My God, I'm sweating here, dude. Jesus. Okay, I believe. Like, you could call this a Zen 3 Plus. You can. This would be like the Zen 3 Plus on AM4, right? And the reason why I believe will come to it, I could be way off base. This is just me brainstorming, right? I'm not like a leaker. I'm not. This is just like the common sense-o-meter with this shit, right? And the reason why I say that is because they have a prototype right here on AM4. Right here. So point number one, AM4 prototype, right? And then point number two, they tested it. Like they showed a 20% FPS increase or whatever, right? So tested on AM4. That means it had to have been on a B550 board or an X570 board. It had to have been on there. Then on top of that, they must have coded a BIOS to support it. That seems like a lot of work for a demo at Computex to not come out on AM4. And here's some more like tinfoil hat type shit, right? She said production end of year, right when Alder Lake comes out. Right, exact same time Alder Lake comes out. What else did she say? Production end of year. Also uses same IO die. All right, Glofo, Global Foundries, new contract for manufacturing space. So now they ordered a shit ton more IO dies. Why would they order that many more IO dies if we're not getting at least one more generation of CPUs on the same IO die, right? You see where I'm going with this? And the way she worded it too, she was like, she was like, it's almost like an entire generational leap. So it's not the full generational leap. She said it was like a generational leap. I think it's coming out on AM4. I think that's gonna be our Zen 3 Plus, to be honest. I had another point on there. Oh yeah, so performance-wise though, to answer what was ever his question was there about the high highs and the low lows, no, I don't think that's gonna be fixed. So when you okay, what cache does, I'm not sure if I should explain the entire premise behind cache, but what cache does, and the larger amounts of cache, larger amounts of cache, is it makes your averages higher. As in, when the CPU hits the cache, it can prefetch the next frame or whatever, the next cycle right away. That's when you get those really high FPSs, when the program is just staying in the cache. CS:GO, Valorant, those really light games, League of Legends, those type of games where the games are really light on the assets. There's like 2 assets in those games, right? It's like a fucking box and like the gun, and like those assets are just recycled everywhere, right? So then in games like that, Intel can never win now, ever, because those games just sit in the cache the whole time, right? So when you increase the cache constantly, you're expanding the rangeability of what games can sit in that cache now. But they didn't alleviate the lowest hanging fruit of the fabric. That's still there. So unless there's a battle royale, like maybe Fortnite could be a victory for AMD now, because it's kind of a light game, right? Like a Rocket League, something like that, right? Like so with the new cache structure, you're gonna see more games starting to lean towards an AMD win, like Rocket League, Overwatch, those ones that kind of fit in the cache now that didn't before, right? But if the game still doesn't fit in the cache, I know my verbiage isn't like the most technical, so just bear with me here, right? If the game doesn't fit in the cache, it's gonna have the exact same lows as Zen 3. Exact same. That's not gonna change. So take Warzone for example, because we use Warzone for all examples. This game uses like 16 gigs of assets, dude. Like, it uses a lot of assets. That's why Intel has way higher lows, right? Now, what you might get in Warzone is maybe more areas of the map might win for AMD now, depending on the area. Like Warzone is area based, right? So if you're going downtown to that tower where AMD chips get like 160, 170, that's going to be the exact same. That's not going to change. Those assets are too big to fit in that fucking cache, right? If you go to farmland, out where the trees are, instead of maybe 300 FPS, you might see what's 20%, 360. So 300 to 360. So it's going to look more impressive in those areas, but the lows are going to be the exact same. That's my prediction of what's going to happen there. The only time really when a cache structure can overcome the fabric problem is when the cache is so big that the entire game like fits in it. Not the entire game, like all the assets and the instructions that need to get fetched all the time. How big that needs to be, I'm not sure. I don't know. How big does the cache need to? So if they put like a 4 gig HBM die on there, well then maybe, yeah, maybe kind of thing, right? But anyway, those were my thoughts on the 3D stacking stuff. Single player games should benefit from it a lot because there's not so much shit going on in a single player game, right? But battle royales and stuff like that, you know, rule number one, folks, nothing ever changes. It does look cool though, I must say. Like I'm pretty stoked to test it. If it does come out on AM4, I'm definitely gonna buy one and test it. Definitely, dude. I'm really disappointed with Zen 3. Really disappointed. After that downtown building came out, the 32 floor skyrise, I'm really disappointed with Zen 3. It can't handle shit like that. It just can't. The architecture has just low-hanging fruits.